Special Katalyst conspiracy theories. Yes, we are doing a video about this. You might be saying to yourself, Rich, what is a conspiracy theory around a Katalyst? Well, for a lot of players, especially new to the game and haven't been playing for at least 3 years, might not know about a special type of event. Also, just before going anywhere, I do get a few questions and comments about my hair. It will be cut on the 28th of April. You don't need to worry. It's just that UK barbers have only recently opened, unless you were having a legal haircut, which you shouldn't have done. But unless you've got a hairdresser in the family or one that's in your household in your bubble. But they're open now, so next week I can get my hair cut. So just to let you know, because, you know, people seem to be interested in that. In any case, the subject of the video needs to be talked about, and the important thing is about this special type of Katalyst. If you go to your filter in your Katalyst and you click off of fragments, so it's just like a generic, like if you click Katalyst, it's like it's not there, but if you kind of click off that, so it's kind of like nothing's happening, something pops up called the Klyntar Katalyst with a K. Very, very clever. And it's still something that pops up on the forums. Still a lot of questions about this particular Katalyst. And by the way, it's great the new players are coming to the game. But as well, I thought I'd take a trip down memory lane, bit of nostalgia, and explain the full inroads of the event and the summon Symbioid and the reason for this Katalyst. Marvel Contest of Champions has always had this kind of touch on symbiotes. We've got 2, maybe 3 in game technically. So we've got Red Goblin and Carnage, which are kind of like similar, same, and as well we've got Venom. So symbiotes are in some kind of capacity, and yes, you could say that the symbiotes are also taking on Venom the Duck and as well the Symbiote Supreme. But I think the main thing to say is like Kabam do be like, you know, symbioids, and they also kind of factor in hugely and highly into the game's makeup, whether it's from the comic book series that ran at the same time as the game being launched. And also the ability to add in various symbiotes, because it's not just one. They are kind of like a multi-bred race of different types of ones in, but a lot of these are kind of treated as kind of very generic-y ones. And these ones can be found in lots of different content, whether or not it's Alliance Quest that they're found, or it's a case nowadays where you find them as special introductions, or they're in there for some sort of variant or something. But I digress, and a lot of players will remember back in 2018, October 2018, an event called Blood and Venom Symbiomancer, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it also gave us some decent champions, but also a special type of event that came with it. This special kind of event also gave you this 1-star summon Symbioid, which you had to, at your choice and at your leisure, rank up to rank 5. It only retained like 1 level, but you had to kind of like increase the ranks of it in order to increase its potency. You can see his health and as well as damage actually looked quite nice, and he did perform immensely well to help out the players, especially when going in some of the content. It was pretty fun, and it was not just the getting the champion, it was the ranking up, the process of it. You had to go and do a lot of the content in order to increase the ranking of the champion by getting more of those Klyntar Katalysts. I put a link in the description to Mvincible's video. By the way, I met Mvincible in person and he's an absolute gent. Love the guy. Really wish there was more time to spend with him, as yeah, just great dude. Go and check out his channel. I hope he's still posting. I haven't checked out anything in a little while, but I hope he is still about. But yeah, this footage here just showcases against the 6-star, which, look, let's face it, it's very different. It was back then to how it is now, but the champion put in work. Also, the better thing about this particular event, there were special boosts, which allowed you to take on the content in a really nice way and were very specific to the summon Symbioid. This champion, as I said, he did put in work and it did put in damage. Getting those lovely boosts meant that you were putting in some great numbers. It was kind of like the idea of Act 6.3 meets Act 7.1. Fairer, funner content that everybody vibed with, especially with the bleed damage as well as power burning. It had it all. This was an incredibly fun type of event, and a lot of the players really fondly remember this. The Summon Symbioid was so much fun that it even had this kind of like, not in a kind of a bad way, cult following, but in an appreciation following. A real big fan base of creationists, and especially this was started by creator Chunky B. If you don't know Chunky B has taken over the concierge, so MCOC concierge, and does a lot of work within the community. So yeah, major props for this, because it did interest players and was fun. The Adventures of Lil Steve, because that's what his nickname was. He was given a nickname Lil Steve. And one of the great things that I used to do with Marvel Contest of Champions news back then was to see exactly what Lil Steve was up to for that particular day. And this is where the real community vibe comes in, where players were creating these kind of scenarios and as well imagery of Lil Steve, the summoned symbiote, going on adventures. You can see it right here with Tony Stark going on a roller coaster. Here he is chilling out in bed. Even Kabam were getting on the action because it's wholesome, it's fun, and this is the great part about the community when they come together and vibe over some particular subject. And it was a case this summoned symbioid, this Lil Steve story arc was actually pretty impressive. And I really would hope that this would come back, especially if Kabam start looking and going like, okay, well, we need to introduce some of the stuff that community were kind of like talking about and vibing with, even if the community as well was coming up with a story of this. And summoned symbioid and his kind of like love affair with his little adventures, which were incredibly impressive and just very joyful. And I massively respect the vibe of Chunky B as well as various other people, especially Kabam, when they were like, look, we'll continue on this little kind of, it's not joke, but this little kind of adventure. But it's kind of like, it's fun. It's a fun thing the community did, even after the champion had left people's rosters after the month of October. And the reason I thought I'd bring this up is because it's been 1 year since we were given the idea and tease that the champion, the event, and maybe something more could be returning in the future. Back on April the 10th, 2020, I put out a video, but it came from Jacques, who sent through a interview with Kabam Frenchie. Unfortunately, Kabam Frenchie is no longer with Kabam, but Kabam Frenchie was a great asset to Kabam. His communication and a lot of other things and interactions were some of the best as a Kabam employee, especially with a lot of other kind of times where I just feel that there's not that level of kind of like openness and communication. So unfortunately, it's a real shame that Kabam Frenchie is no longer with the company. But something that was important that I think all of us will enjoy is that he gave us this particular piece of info. And that was, he said the symbioid we had in 2018 will come back, but not now. No schedule, because he doesn't know what's coming for it after July. But there was still that kind of inkling that the event or the champion would return. This year is going to be the 3rd anniversary since the event was put in, as it was October 2018. And I've asked Kabam the question, will the event return? Now, at the point of recording this video, the answer is still unknown. And I'm still waiting to see if I'll actually get an answer to that question, which would be nice. This event brought together lots of members of the community, but still leaves a big mystery as to why this node still persists to be in game. It's something that doesn't have any kind of relevancy, and at the same time it's needed there for what kind of reason? Unless there was something down the line to bring it back, unless Kabam are completely done with the event. It definitely would be nice to bring it back, especially from some of the interactions, those amazing boosts that we saw in the Mvincible video, and also the way that it brought together the community to create these fun little stories and interactions. I've got incredibly fond memories of this champion being put into the game, and especially the content that was created. There was also sometimes you were able to take this champion into things like Alliance War, and that made for some very interesting videos and interactions, and also some very scalable amounts of potency. So I don't know if it would play out very differently now if the champion was indeed put in. But still, the fondness for this particular type of event, which, let's face it, a lot of the side events and special events that Kabam have been putting in hasn't exactly kind of like ticked a lot of boxes. The reason I haven't put this in my side event video I did quite recently is because it was very specific, as well as the rewards don't match with the current meta. But look, it worked. It's just a case of like, it's more nowadays based for things like side events, where I think this was all about interaction with the current like difficulty, like saying uncollected or cavalier type difficulty. Either way, it would be great to see this particular event, champion, the community vibe we had, and as well the interaction Kabam had with this as well back, and all those good stuffs as well. But in any case, what are your thoughts on the summon Symbioid? Does this interest you? Is this something that you didn't know about and you've learnt a bit? What are your thoughts? Put it in the comment section down below. And also make sure to check out some other content posted up here. This is most recent content. Please keep up to date with content. A lot of people do say to me, oh, you know, this happened, and it's like, yeah, I did a video on that. And so, yeah, please keep up to date with content. It does help out the community seeing some of these bits of coverage. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.